Hello, I'm Lyrelion, and welcome back to All the Mods 9 here at Hack the Planet. Today we're going to just do a brief overview of a Drygmy farm. So we're actually going to start out today by looking at rs.guide. There's a document here about how Drygmies work. They can be a little overwhelming at first, but this right here is the important part where it talks about the drop count. The general gist of it is the more unique mobs you have, the more loot you're going to get. Every unique entity is going to add 2 drops to the pool. That is by default. These numbers can be modified by the mod pack you're playing on, but by default every unique entity adds 2. You get an additional drop from the first 5 and a further additional drop from the first 1. So like it says here, the first entity is going to give you 4 because that's 2 plus 1 plus 1. Once you have those mobs in there, that determines the size of your drop pool. Each time you get a drop, it's going to make a massive loot table out of all the potential drops that you can get from all the mobs, and it's going to pick that number of drops from that loot table. So let's go ahead and take a look at the mob farm itself. You'll see here I've got the hinge here in the center of the room. You get a hinge by applying a Drygmy charm to a mossy cobblestone block. You do have to have the hinge adjacent to some form of inventory. I've got a stable wormhole here that leads to the occultism actuator, but you can use a chest, a barrel, a hopper, anything that can be used directly as an inventory can be your inventory block. That's where they're going to deposit their loot. You also need a source jar nearby to provide source. Each time there's a drop of loot, it's going to use up part of that source jar, and this is being replenished. You can kind of see the little clear blast every once in a while being replenished from my source relays under the floor. The range of the hinge, it can reach 10 blocks in any direction for jars. If you're using just raw entities that are not trapped in jars, it can still reach 10 horizontally, but it only has a reach of 6 vertically. I don't really make use of that. This 21 by 21 room is more than enough to handle several hundred mobs. So 10 in every direction, and you can place them however you want. I wanted it to be a little bit more aesthetic, so I kind of created it almost like a museum. But you can just see the room is lined with all these different creatures. There may be a few duplicates in here, but for the most part, everything in here is unique. See the Drygmy dancing. The way the hinge works is every 100 ticks, it's going to check to see if it has received 20 dances. Those are cumulative, so if you apply multiple Drygmy charms to the hinge, the dances of each of them will add up. If that hinge has received 20 dances, when it does the check, you'll get a drop of loot. Anything above 20 is basically erased as it just resets back to 0. The best setting is probably going to be having 4 to 5 Drygmies. Those divide evenly into 20, and it's a reasonable amount of Drygmies to have. Anything more than 20 Drygmies is just overkill and isn't going to boost your speed at all. You'll note I only have 1 here because at the point of the game I'm at, I really don't need a lot more loot from these guys, and that because of the volume of creatures I have, that 1 Drygmy is producing enough loot to take care of all of my needs. And that is the basics of setting up a Drygmy farm. Thank you for watching.